Good evening, MXL. This is CT doing another video. This time, this one is kind of destined for Coach's Corner. And what I want to do, because we have some new folks in the league, we have some folks who are new to CFM, maybe even new to playing human opponents, etc. And even for vets, I think this is kind of a valuable tool. So you might hear people talk about coming up with a new scheme or finding a new play that works or, crafting something that you can use that's viable in our CFM and MXL that can work for you, that you can practice and kind of give a new look, give a fresh kind of approach to something. So what I want to do here is a series, and here's where the series will be headed. So I'm going to, as you can see, about to go into practice mode, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a playbook I have never looked at or used before, and I'm just going to pick it on offense. Once I pick it, I'm going to go into a formation. I'm going to give you kind of an idea of what I'm looking for in the formation as far as certain run plays, certain routes, that, in pass plays that I like. And then we're going to slowly over time, starting today, build what'll start as a small thing, so a couple of plays, and build it into a scheme out of a particular formation. And so this is it's going to be multiple video series, but this particular video to start is going to be kind of the intro to and the anatomy of building a scheme, if you will. So to start, we're just going to go in, and like I said, I just picked the Saints and the Chargers. It's pretty random. There's no reason why. So offense, I have never used Buffalo's playbook, so I'm just randomly going to pick Buffalo. I have not looked at this. I have not prepped for this, so this is going to be a live me figuring it out on film for you guys to see. So we'll see what happens. Also, in this intro video, I think we'll be able to see, I think I want to focus on something that's kind of a run-first formation to kind of give you an idea what to look for there. And then as the series progresses, as we do more videos, we'll then look at passing plays and how you might be looking for a little bit different thing if you're looking for, let's say, like a shotgun scheme, as opposed to, like a run-heavy look type set. So for now, just for the sake of simplicity, for our first run through here, let's look at a run. Let's see if we can find a run heavy set. And let's see what they have for us. So I'm going to go and just kind of scroll through different formations and see, what they have for me. Bunch ace is always a decent one. Let's see. Deuce is not bad. Ace slot is good. Let's see what they have here in I form. I form slot is nice. See what they have here. We can definitely work with that if we need to. Okay. I'm kind of a fan of those too. Pistol. Alright. Let's do this. I don't want to do one that I've done before because, or one that I use, because I think that'd be kind of cheating the system here. Let's take a look at the swing one. I have no idea what this is about. This could have some potential. Okay, so let me just take a look. Alright, so I kind of like this one. I think we can work with this. Alright. So when you're looking at, in this case, like I said, this is a 1-2-2 formation, or 1-2-2 personnel, right? So that means, as you can see on the screen, 1 halfback, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. So obviously this is not something that generally people would come out in if, let's say, it's going to be 3rd and long or something like that. It's more geared towards the run. So your opponent is likely going to have a good idea that you're going to be running the ball primarily from this, which is fine. So the next thing I'm going to look for, because again this is a run heavy set, I want to look for a run that will allow me to flip it to either side. So let me give you an example here. Look at halfback stretch. Okay? So I know by looking at that I can flip halfback stretch at the line of scrimmage either right or left. So that's going to give me options if the defense gets stacked too heavily on either side. And then we'll be able to adjust on the fly. And then I also know, because it's great to have something that goes left and right, but it's then also nice to have a complement to go up the middle. So we actually have two that will work here. One, as you see, is halfback blunt dive and 26 duo. So what I want to do here is inside split also will work great. So halfback toss crack is another good run that we can use to the outside. The only problem is you won't be able to flip that particular run because it involves a motion from the outside wide receiver. But still, that's a good play that we can use in the arsenal. So what I want to do is ultimately, I'm going to, let me go into my audibles here. So these are the stock audibles, right? And I went to the audibles by going to, by pressing L2. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to figure out how I can add audibles in my formation here that are going to be able to, as we just talked about, complement my run. So I would say if I'm going to run this play, or if I'm going to use this formation, I'm going to say I'm going to come out in the halfback toss crack every time. So this is going to be my base play. Because it's my base play, I don't need to put in my audibles because we're going to be coming out in it every time we run this particular formation. So halfback toss crack is fine. We'll leave it alone. Oops, we went out. And then I like to put as the square audible, I'm going to put halfback stretch, as we talked about. That one can be flipped. That'll be nice. Inside zone split, I'm not sure how this one works, but I am familiar with 26 duo as well as halfback blunt dive, excuse me. We'll do halfback blunt dive for now. And then passes, we're going to get to that probably in the next video, but for now, we're just going to focus on the runs for this particular video and kind of see what happens here. Okay, so again, our formation is here, and remember, I have not used this before. I've never used the Saints either, so I have no idea what's going to happen, but we're going to give it a run. So what I want to do here is, again, we're going to come out in halfback toss crack, and this is me kind of testing the theory of what I saw in the formation and the fact that I think I could do something with it. So we're going to come out in that halfback toss crack. Formation, what I want to do is, let's see, I want to come out in a random 4-3 play because this is going to be a typical defense you'll see against this sort of thing. And now that we have it, here's the halfback toss crack play we came out in, right? And you see how Ginn motions over. Let's see if this works the way I think it will. We're just testing right now. Okay, so that's pretty solid run there, about 4 or 5 yards. And let's run it one more time just to see. Kamara doesn't exactly have a ton of speed, so this one's kind of tough to see. But let's see. That time we caught the corner, so I think it's going to depend a little bit if you can get the edge. But that works fine. That's a fine run play to go to get 4 or 5 yards. So here's where the wrinkles come in. So now you remember that we added to our audible the halfback stretch and blunt dive. So I hit square before I snapped the ball. And hang on one second, my headset shut down. There we go. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, so as we talked about, so there's that play we just ran, which is the toss crack. But now we have the stretch and the blunt dive in the arsenal as well that we can use. Now what I'm looking at when I'm gonna choose what to run here is I'm looking at the box. Okay, so as you can see, the box being the line of scrimmage in the trenches. So I see that they have a lot of people in the middle of the field. Okay, and so let's say I wanted to run halfback blunt dive. Even if I flip it here, I mean the odds that I have a ton of success with this are probably slim, right? So I'm gonna say, you know what? I have numbers on this play, the halfback stretch. So I'm pressing square to audible and then square for the halfback stretch. And let's see what happens. Let's see if we can get some blocks set up for us. And Joey Bosa is a beast and shed it immediately, so that didn't work out. Let's try that again and see if we can get some better blocking. Our tight ends got eaten up, so that didn't work. But I have the numbers on the right, so that's why, again, I'm liking this stretch as is. We could probably do the dive, but let's see if we can get this stretch to work as intended. That safety flew down Derwin James like a beast. Okay. So now I'm kind of looking, I'm saying, well, maybe I have some numbers here. Maybe I can get some work done on the left side. So let's run the stretch. We'll see if this is any good here. That could be a decent play. All right, and Kamara with a little move, and we took it to the house. So let's just go to replay. I want to take a look at kind of what I was seeing and what I ended up doing here. Okay, so again, I have a situation because it's a stretch. A stretch is essentially going to be. Now I want you to watch the linemen, right? So the linemen are going to automatically try to double team those interior line guys. So watch. See, you have the left guard in the center. Let's go up a little on a stretch right here. That's the left guard, and that's the center. Watch them. They're going to double team this DT, and then you're going to have the right tackle, if I can get to him. Boy, I'm struggling. Can I get to the right? There he is. Right tackle and the right guard. Wow, what a struggle, huh? Anyway, you can see. But anyway, the right guard will be, those guys will pick up the other DT. So watch what happens here. So see how you get the double teams on both of those guys? And the way that this play is designed is one of the players, it'll preferably be the outside blocker, so 75 in this case, should peel off of that defender as soon as I pass him. And then go and pick up the linebacker, and let's watch here. So see how 75, after he chips on the DT, he goes to the second level, and his job is to pick up a linebacker, and he does exactly what he's supposed to do. I take the hole, and I see that Michael Thomas basically over here is like not really doing his job for very long because he lets this guy go, and I make a juke, obviously, and then we get daylight. So, but anyway, that's kind of what the stretch is, just to explain kind of how the stretch works. And here again, I think let's look at the stretch. So again, I have numbers on the right side, which means that I have more blockers than they have defenders, right? So that's what I mean by numbers. So let's run this here, and we'll see if Joey Bosa doesn't own me. Okay, so that time we did much better. Picked up about, what, 11 yards? 12 yards? Because we had the numbers. So this is, again, let's try that again, see if we can get the same blocking. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And we did okay, and Kamara is a spinning beast, apparently. And we almost scored. So you kind of see how that works. So now, let's look at the blunt dive as kind of our final play here, but it'll kind of tie everything up as far as the rushing portion of this particular formation. And the next video we can go ahead and look at the passing plays from this formation. And again, I'm gonna set it up for you guys to where you can come out in that toss crack every single time and still have all this in your arsenal available. So again, it's gonna allow you to do a bunch of things, which I really like. All right, but let's do the blunt dive just so you get a look at kind of how this is gonna work. So I'm saying that I probably have a better chance by switching it to the right and seeing if I can run this blunt dive up the middle, and we got a yard or two. Let's try again. Again, what they're running isn't really ideal for the blunt dive, so this may be a bad example, but let me give you a better example. Okay. And we'll be able to see the blunt dive work for us a little. I am going to come out in the blunt dive let's stay consistent. I'll just come out in the toss crack. And then, let's see. Something like, if someone's running like a wide 9, for example. Okay, let's just pick like cover 4 quarters. Okay, so now, see, this is the type of thing. If someone comes out in this, now you're saying to yourself, okay, the stretch, they got Bosa way outside. I don't know if I want to do that. And even the toss crack, I don't know how that's going to work for me, but I do like that that line is spread out. So now I'm going to be audibling with, again, square and then triangle to halfback blunt dive. And now I'm going to say, all right, well, I have numbers because the line's so spread out. So now I have the opportunity to run that and keep them honest. So, you know, with this kind of alignment where they're real spread out like this, I really think you can probably run this right or left kind of. You can flip it right or left and have success with it. But again, this is just like I said, this is against something where someone's got a spread line. I mean, this is ideal. You're going to get 5 yards every time. So anyway, so I think that's probably going to wrap it up for the intro video. Again, this was to give you an idea of me going into a formation I've never used before, coming up with a thought process and a way to attack you know, this sort of thing, coming up with a new scheme, coming up with a new set of plays that I can use. So again, to recap for the video, the important things is we now have figured out, yes, we're going to move forward with this formation. You guys saw the toss crack work fairly well. You saw the stretch work real well a couple times. The blunt dive worked real well against formations, as you see on the screen right now, like 4-3 wide. I myself use 4-3 wide, so this is definitely a way that you could probably take advantage of me on, you know, when you're on offense. But so now that we've finished this video, to recap, we figured out a formation. We have we figured out our first 2 audibles, and we figured out our base play that we're going to come out in. And now the next video, which I will post shortly after this one, hopefully, will be on what other plays in the formation are going to populate our final 2 audibles, because we get 4. Which means if you have another play that's not in your audibles, as we do with toss crack, you'll have a total of 5 plays in this particular scheme that you can run. And then there's a chance that we can find other plays along the way that you can kind of sprinkle in if you don't want to come in, or if you don't want to come out and toss crack. And so again, this is just to give you an idea of the thought process, what goes into it, what I'm thinking about, how I'm thinking about it. And I look forward to seeing you guys in part 2 of the series, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks for your time, guys, and have a good night.